and welcome back to this video. My name is Dr. Michelle van Tonder and I represent an organization called My Growth Academy. And in this particular video, I'm going to talk to you about prioritizing. Now I know most of you know and understand prioritizing, and you're probably going to switch the video off now and say, I'm not interested in listening to this because I got it. Well, for me, I'm going to say stick with us, because one of the things that we need to understand is that we often abuse three of the most important things in our lives when we are prioritizing. And one is the gift of Jesus Christ that God gave us. The other one is the gift of the Holy Spirit. And the third one is the gift of time. And all too often, you and we waste time. And it's one of the greatest gifts that we've been given that we cannot get back again. And the biggest myth we all use is that I am now going to go on a time management course. What I'm going to say to you, that you cannot manage time. And I challenge any of you to please go and manage time. Because I don't know, when you look at management is you telling something to do something, all right, or you're moving something from one place to the other. Have you ever tried to take 3 and go and put it by 9? It's just not going to work. How many of you have said in your lives, I wish I had more hours in the day? And that is because we're trying to manage time as opposed to learning the art of managing ourselves within a time frame. Whether we like it or not, the 24 hours have been given to us. The 24 hours is what we have been allocated as a day. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. And isn't it interesting? How often do we talk about the 8 hours that we do at work? Most of us talk about 8 hours. I know most of you are working 13 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, but in general, we're supposed to have 8 hours of work. Then we often talk about how many hours I sleep. All right, and we get told you must sleep 8 hours. Yes, some of us sleep 5, some of us sleep 6. But isn't it interesting that those 2 frames of hours, the 8 hours of work and the 8 hours we sleep, we always talk about? Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when I went to school, 8 plus 8 did not equal 24. 8 plus 8 is 16. So my question is, what are you doing with the other 8 hours? We do not even consider those other 8 hours. We waste those other 8 hours. We maybe watch too much television. We maybe just sit on the patio doing nothing. But none of us actually plan those 8 hours. And there is a really good book. Unfortunately, I can't think of the author right now, but it's actually called The Other 8 Hours. And the other 8 hours is the valuable 8 hours that you and I get given to actually change our lives. The other 8 hours is the 8 hours that you and I can go and do the most amazing amount of things. And when we say to ourselves, I wish I had another 24 hours, it's because we haven't considered what we can do in those other 8 hours. Okay, some of us is another 5 hours because we work extra hours and those kind of things. But I really want you to take your diary this next week, and I want you to go and diarize what you do every hour. Try and do that. Even if you do it for one day, you will be surprised at how much time you're wasting. How much time we just stare at a computer screen because we don't really know we're so confused we don't know what to do. Now, I know when I get into that situation, the first thing I do, and my husband is really good at prioritizing things and putting things into little boxes, okay? Because I don't know if you realize that, generally speaking, men think in little boxes and ladies, their lives are all entwined to everything with the children and the whole lot. So I sit with him and I say, I've got to do this. Here's my list. Help me prioritize. And then he automatically says, right, when do you want these done? When do you want these done? And when do you want these done? And so then I break it down into what must be done today, what needs to be done this week, and what must be done in the next 30 days. Because most of us, when we read an email or we read an SMS or we read a WhatsApp, we want to action it immediately. And then what we're supposed to be doing gets put to the side. So one of the gifts that I can give you when you receive all your emails is open up your email box in the morning and automatically put it into the categories. Don't read the email. You will know from whom it comes, whether it needs to be dealt with today, whether you can deal with it within the next week, or whether you can deal with it within the next 30 days. Open up those sections and move it in. And then, go and address each of them individually. And that way it's going to actually help you, because you're either going to organize or you're going to agonize. Which one are you going to do? Most of us are agonizing and very few of us are organizing. And so make the choose or the lose. Which one are you doing? For myself, every single morning, my favorite motto is measure, monitor, and adjust. And if you want to prioritize, please understand that you only have X amount of hours in a day. And the beautiful thing, and the reason why you and I have a job, is because there is work left over for tomorrow. Do not try and do everything in one day. Allocate it to the right allocations. And when prioritizing, please look, when you're doing your daily agenda or looking at your diary through the day, identify which are the things that 20% of the things that you do will give you 80% of the results. Most of us, 80% of the things that we do are only giving us a 20% result. Those topics hand over to someone else. And you must have heard of the 80-20 principle before, and that's the Pareto principle. If you haven't heard of the Pareto principle or you don't understand the 80-20 principle, could I suggest you go read up on it? And there are lovely schedules that you can utilize to actually put yourself into an 80-20 principle perspective. Also, list the 10 people you need to speak to today, or the 5 people you need to speak to today. And then ask yourself, if I speak to this person, myself personally, what results am I going to get? Because perhaps someone else could do that phone call for you. So that ends the session on how to prioritize and how important it is that time is a very valuable commodity. We've often heard that time is money, but please understand it's more than that. It's a gift that God has given you. Don't waste time. You're going to be held accountable one day for it. So this is Michelle signing off on this particular one, and I'm going to ask you, please, if you don't mind subscribing to our YouTube channel of My Growth Academy, also go and like our Facebook page, and then don't forget to follow us on SoundCloud. And I look forward to chatting to you in the next session.